Hi guys, this is Lily here at Aspiring NP. Just wanted to talk today about how you can pass your test or your boards the first time around. I'm going to share with you a secret, or not a secret, but a technique that worked with me well for the NCLEX examination and also for the board certification, which I became board certified through the ANCC, the American Nurse Credentialing Center. But whichever one you decide to take, whether you want to be credentialed to the AANP or the ANCC, whichever one you take, this technique can work well with you. So how I did it, how I took the NCLEX and how I took the board certification was that I structured my study time. Let's say for 2 weeks I only studied content. I purchased the Fitzgerald review because that's what was available at the time, and it's a really good one still. I highly recommend it. But there is Maria Leak, there is a couple other ones that are newer ones in the last 5 years. More people have done their own board certification review guides and study guides. Whichever one, really doesn't matter. The point is that you first dedicate about 2 weeks to just studying the content and getting through just about every single topic review wise, whether you feel comfortable with it or not. After this time period, I spent about a week and a half to 2 weeks taking tests, because I found that really it's not about the content that you know or you don't know. It's about whether you are able to pre-populate it on a testing environment. And it's so hard to mimic that testing environment. A lot of people have a hard time concentrating for long periods of time, or they get fidgety, or they get nervous, they get sweaty palms. So because when you study at home, you may take breaks often. You may get up and take a breather. You may go for a walk. You may take out your dog. You may take a phone call, and that's just not the case at a testing center. So in order to give yourself the best foot forward, you really have to adapt your body to get used to what a testing center would feel like. So that means that for 4 hours, so however long the test lasts, you are only getting up to use the bathroom, if at all. Like for me, I just held it. I just didn't drink much water before I began, and I took the test from beginning to end as if I was at a testing center. So usually this would take me about 4 hours, and I was studying for it. I was not like going through the rationales or anything. I would just take the test, the whole test, all questions of a sample test, and I would do that from like 8 o'clock in the morning to like 12 or something like that, or like 11:30, whenever I finished. After that, like your mind is like so bogged out. Like you really feel like you could take a nap because of how much brain power you exerted just doing those 4 hours of testing. But you take a breather, you go and get something to eat, and then you come back and you actually do the rationales of that test that you took earlier that day. And I did this every day with different tests. Sometimes I would rotate them if I didn't find enough of questions or testing banks for you to pull from. But that shouldn't be a problem nowadays, because there's a lot of different testing banks that you can really get. I did this for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, where every single day I would get up, take a test, go to lunch, come back, and do another 4 hours of looking through all the questions at the rationales of all the questions. So this I did, like I said, not only to solidify and cement the actual knowledge. I had the knowledge. You have the knowledge too. If you've managed to go through comps, and you've managed to pass through a two and a half or 2 years of, maybe even longer, 3 years if you're doing a DMP, of nurse practitioner school, and like 700 plus hours of clinical rotations, I can bet my bottom dollar that you are equipped and you know what you're doing. However, that may not reflect on your testing score, and that's what it's all about. And that's why I am a huge encourager of finding a way to get your body used to a testing center and what that may look like. So 0 distractions, and you may have to take time off of work. I don't really think that, for me at least, it doesn't work so well when I did like half an hour here, half an hour there, 10 questions here, 5 questions there. It worked out better for me knowing that at least I was capable of doing a whole test at home in the same situation or simulation as if I was at a testing center. And this worked out well as a nurse. I became a registered nurse my first time around, and I passed that NCLEX because again, it's a huge test. Your body's not used to sitting in a position for like 6 hours, but if you train it, it will get trained. So you may find like the first day or two, you're like falling asleep or fighting sleep, like 20 questions later. Like every 20 questions, you're like having to pinch yourself to fall asleep. But after a while, your body gets used to staying awake. The routine of sitting still, staying concentrated, reading something, critical thinking your way through it, and staying awake until eventually you get used to it. And then, and only then, so it took me about 3.5 to 4 weeks of studying, of hardcore studying. That was all I was doing. Then and only then I actually went for my exam and passed it. And no surprise, I passed it. I was practicing it the whole time, and I was practicing that exam the whole time. So remember, Aspiring NPs is not about the knowledge you know. It's not about the grades you got in nurse practitioner school. It's about passing a standardized test. That's what it all boils down to. This doesn't test your knowledge extensively. It really just tests your knowledge as a beginning and safe practicing nurse practitioner. And to make sure that you at least have the bare essentials to get out there and expand as you grow. So I encourage you to not get discouraged with the amount of work and the amount of books and review books and all sorts of things that different people do to pass their test. But instead, develop a plan that works for you. I encourage you to take time off of whatever you're doing, whether it's taking care of your children or work. I mean, it may be really hard and you're going to require a lot of support. You can't really do this on your own. But to get your body used to sitting in that position and answering those type of questions and staying awake and alert for 4 hours, 3.5 hours, however long it takes you to complete a test, and then going through the rationales. I can guarantee you that if you do that, I mean, you could get more nervous the day off, but your body will be so used to the same type of situation that it should be a no-brainer for you to be alert, oriented, and give yourself the best passing chance for your test. All right, that's it for today. See you soon. See you next week. Take care.